Hi, I'm David from Levika Photography, and today, per some viewer requests, quite a few actually asked for this, you want me to talk about tripods. And a lot of you notice that I use very unusual tripods in my reviews. There's a reason for it. And I don't really use this one, but we're going to go ahead and show you what I do use. So let's take a look. There's differences between different types of tripods. So, you know, I've got this one. This stays in the studio. I have a travel tripod, and then I've got my heavyweight tripod. Now, this one's actually made out of carbon fiber. This is a Hukuba HG623OC carbon fiber tripod. And then the head is just an old Bogan 3030, three-way adjustable. Nothing all that exciting. But what's mounted on top is a Spartan macro plate. And what this allows us to do is, since this is the studio tripod, it allows us to make quick focusing adjustments on the fly when we just need just a tiny bit of movement for the head. Now when it comes to heads, I prefer ball heads or three-way heads. I'm not really into the pistol grip ones. Those don't allow for fine movement. You know, you're just kind of stuck and you can never get it in the right place. You guys are familiar with the Manfrotto tripods, the old school aluminum ones. Those are great tripods, but when you actually want to move around and travel, they're a bit of a nightmare. This one here, fully loaded with all this gear on it, weighs about 5.5 pounds. Very light. But what I wanted to show you, what makes a good tripod is the actual height that the tripod can go and be rock solid. And if I lock this down, this is very solid. So this can handle a camera that's about 8 pounds, somewhere around there, and it'll handle it with confidence. Where the neck is all the way up, it doesn't vibrate at the top. The less movement that you have up here, the better. Now let me show you. We have this. Let's go back to this Velabon VideoMate 300. These are $30 tripods at best, and these have been around forever. And this is what a bad tripod looks like, and you're going to see why here in just a second. Ooh. Now this thing is light, but it's made of plastic. What that basically means is that our total height for this tripod is this tall. Now you see the height difference. Now on top of that, the head's plastic. This thing wiggles everywhere just by smacking it. You can see how much it wiggles. This, not so much. But this thing, yeah, that's bad. And it's a plastic plate. If you're in a pinch, you know, yeah, by all means, use this. But really, what determines a good tripod is the height. Now let's go to my travel tripod. This is one of my favorites. This is an older version of the Slick Sprint Pro, and this is the SBH 100. And the reason why I like this one, it has a ball head, but the ball head's always on there, and it's a screw plate instead of an actual plate that you mount on there. The reason why is because if you have several different tripods, you have a tendency to leave plates in certain locations and you don't have them when you have your tripod. So if it's a screw-on, you always have it. Now it turns out that this tripod, and this is all aluminum. It's not made out of carbon fiber. It weighs about 2 pounds 1 ounce, and it has spiked feet and grippy feet. As the legs come out, you'll notice that it almost looks kind of flimsy, but when it's there, that's rock solid. Now the cool thing about this tripod is the height for a travel tripod. It's extremely important to get your camera at height or eye level. Now these types of tripods I think are perfect for mirrorless cameras like the A6000. And the cool thing about this tripod is anytime that you're composing an image, it doesn't matter if it's full daylight or if it's dark out. If you're composing the image, you're going to use a tripod. So with this one, the reason why I like this so much, not only is it rigid and is it light and is it portable, but how low can you actually get the camera to the ground? And you know, a lot of people think that the screw-on thing is a nightmare, but when you have several different cameras like me, it's preferable. That way you don't leave a plate. But the neck comes out of this one. So this detaches, and then the movement of the legs are extremely important. So we can put these all the way in, and most tripods have this nowadays. Back when I bought this tripod like 8 years ago, this was kind of a new feature. But this allows us to get this high. So now we're basically 18 inches off the ground. Now if I pull out these clips all the way out, now I am, what, 6 inches off the ground. That is definitely a very cool feature about this tripod. That's why I really like this tripod a lot. But it's perfect for the A6000. Now, is it good for any of the bigger DSLRs? I used to put my D7100 on it and use mirror lockup, and that seemed to be okay. But the A7R doesn't particularly like this tripod. It'll mount to it, but it's a little too heavy for it. Okay, so next comes the big guns. Now this is a FIesol competition fiber CT3342, and the legs themselves only weigh 2 pounds. That's the beauty of it. Now I've just got a standard Geodos ball head on here with a standard plate. The plate has bubble levels on it. It's always preferable to have a plate with bubble levels, that way you can get everything level. But the beauty of this tripod is the height. And height is a huge factor when using tripods. Okay, so let me fold this out here. Now you thought this one next to me is tall. This thing, let me get it up here. I'd say that beats it by a good foot. Maybe, yeah, probably a good foot. But the reason why I have this tripod is it's ultra steady. Because it's competition fiber, it doesn't flex at all. So this is a perfect tripod for heavier cameras. The reason why I actually bought this tripod is for the 4x5. And with 4x5s, you have a problem where you have bellows. And the bellows are the black accordion looking things on the actual camera itself. And I'll bring this down to a kind of a normal height. But when you have this camera set up like this, and you've got it run all the way out, this thing is essentially a kite, and it's going to want to blow around all over the place. So you have to have an extremely stable tripod for this. Hands down my favorite tripod. Cost-wise, this will set you back $500 easy, but it's so worth it. Okay, so I popped the A7R on here with a 180mm f2 Nikon non-AI lens, an old school manual focus f2. And with this tripod, one thing you want to know is with mirrorless cameras, you want to get adapters that have the tripod mount on the adapter. That way it takes the weight off of the camera. Now this makes, for this setup, extremely balanced, vibration free. There'll never be an issue with this. This is the way it needs to go. But again, fully extended, that's how high I can get now. Now for most of you, this may not be a big deal, but here in Arizona, if we're out shooting wildflowers, there are certain areas where the bushes are this tall and we got to be able to get over everything. So having something that goes this high is absolutely necessary, especially for architectural work. Now this also has legs that allow you to fold all the way out, so you can put it in different directions. And this has a different mounting plate. So if I pull the neck out, I could mount the camera directly to this neck and have it at this height. So it gives you several different options to work with. Probably for this setup, 450 bucks. And this one's probably 550 to 600. Not everybody's going to pay that. So let me show you some quick ways to get around it. You just have a standard APS-C size DSLR, and you want a good tripod. Again, I'm coming back to the Sprint Pro, and there's a reason for it, because this is just a great, easy to use, rock solid, small tripod that's light. Now, most of you can get away with this. Now, if you're into photography and you have a light stand, this is what I like. Buy a good light stand. This one, I think, cost me $10 used. And the beauty of this light stand is the height. And this thing goes extremely tall. So you can mount a camera on here, and with this adapter on the light stand, I can move the camera to whatever direction I need it to go. I think that pretty much beats the pants off of everything else. Now, this is only going to work for light cameras, and especially light cameras that have an electronic first curtain shutter. But it's a great way to get around situations where you know you're going to be shooting high, you need some stability. This definitely works, especially with the remote. And then last but not least, since we're on the issue of light stands, I just wanted to show you guys this light stand, which also works very well as a backup tripod if you need it. It doesn't go nearly as tall as the other light stand, but this is extremely rigid. And this is a very new ProMaster 5223 light stand, and that's as high as the base goes. But just like the tripods, if you pull down on this lever, then you can get actuation that goes all the way out. So that'll allow you to get very stable, or actually allow you to tilt the tripod to get the angle that you want. And I've used this as a tripod in a pinch several times. And it doesn't go quite as high, but it still works very well. These are not cheap. These cost about 90 bucks. So one thing that you guys might ask about, or ask yourself about, is how much are you getting into video? Most of the tripods nowadays have ball heads. But in this case, we got a three-way, and the beauty of three-ways are we can undo just the bottom and have it rotate. Now, typical video tripods will have longer extension arms. I usually use tubes that I stick on the end of here for that. And I like it that way, so I'm not hitting it in the studio, because I like to get really close to the screen. But, you know, a lot of people use this style of head. Now, you've got this access that allows you to pan smoothly and go around. Then you can lock that down, and then you've got your forward tilt that allows you to pan up. And this is impossible to do on a ball head. And then the other thing that we have is our side going up. And, you know, this just allows you to level everything out. Now, that's the last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, is when you get a tripod that you like, the ones with the bubble levels are always a little bit better, because you want to level the base out, especially for video. Now, you guys see those double arm tripods for video, and you're wondering what those are for. So those big heavy duty tripods, those are for big heavy duty cameras. Now, you got to remember, all the way up till about 2 years ago, a video camera was like 40 pounds. So it had to commit a lot of weight to it. Nowadays, a good solid carbon fiber tripod is going to be able to hold your DSLR or your mirrorless camera just fine. So in this case, like I said, if you're getting into video, it's always good to get a three-way head. And they have some that do specific things. Regular video heads can be fairly inexpensive. Three-way pan heads on eBay are usually 40 bucks. Does it really matter if the head is a name brand or not? Absolutely not. I have used the most generic heads as long as they work. Now, ball heads wear out, just so you guys know. It doesn't matter if you buy a high-end ball head or a cheap one. Eventually, they all wear out. So, but three-ways, unless you break something on it, it's going to be there forever. But no, you don't have to worry about buying a brand name head. Good generic versions always just as good. Usually brand name heads are just a little lighter. So if weight is your factor, then look at the brand names. But if it's not, then just look for the functionality that you need to have. Head adapters. Now we showed you guys our macro adapter, that's our easy adjust adapter. But with this is actually called a Velo strobo frame. And what this allows me to do, let me grab this camera really quick. You have a tripod that doesn't have a very strong head. This keeps the weight center over the head versus putting it all the way out on the side. So that's a very good head to have. Now the last one is this head. And this is strictly a video head, and it's battery operated, and this is the MP360, but it'll allow you to tilt the head back and forth and then rotate. And right now it's completely rotating in my hand. But anyway, you see me using this quite often. If you're into video, this is a great thing to have. Dirt cheap, these things are like 120 bucks, and it gives you extremely smooth panning. And also allows you to do cross patterns. So anyway, I hope you guys like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and click on the ads because that helps me down the road. Otherwise, you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.